Imagine you are camping alone in the middle of a dense forest. The birds are chirping, the leaves are rustling in the wind. Suddenly, all sounds die out. A deadly silence falls over, just like someone hit the mute button on the whole world. You look around, there is not a single animal in sight. But right at the corner of the tree ahead, space is bending, twisting like heat waves rising from an asphalt road in the middle of summer. And then, that invisible void begins to step forward, walking straight towards you. You cannot run because you cannot shoot or hide from something you cannot see. Today we will step into the nightmare that haunts millions of Americans. The mystery of the invisible entity known as the Glimmer Man and the life or death rules of the Appalachian Mountains. America is proud to possess some of the most majestic national parks in the world. However, behind that exquisite beauty lies a chilling blacklist. Thousands of people have walked into these forests and vanished without a trace, without a single piece of clothing left behind, without a drop of blood. This phenomenon is so famous that it created an ideology called Missing 411. Police often blame bears, wolves, or serial killers. But recently, the American online community has been whispering a much more terrifying theory, compiled from hundreds of testimonies of survivors who return. The culprit is not human, nor is it a wild beast. It is an invisible force. Americans call it the Glimmer Man. One of the most chilling records ever documented happened to a veteran hunter named Marcus at a national forest in the state of Ohio. It was a late autumn afternoon. Marcus was sitting in a tree stand about 5 meters above the ground, perfectly camouflaged to wait for deer. The forest, buzzing with the sound of insects, suddenly fell silent. The silence was so thick that Marcus could hear his own blood rushing in his eardrums. This concept is called the Oz factor by explorers. The moment nature holds its breath when an extremely dangerous entity appears. From a distance, Marcus heard footsteps, not the sneaking sound of a 4-legged beast, but the heavy footsteps of a 2-legged animal. Crack, crack, crack! Every dry leaf was crushed. It was walking straight towards his tree. Marcus slowly raised his rifle, holding his breath as he looked through the scope. But through the optical lens, there was nothing at all. The footsteps stopped right at the base of Marcus's tree. He slowly lowered his gun, looking with his naked eye. Right there, the layer of air above the ground was moving. It looked exactly like the invisibility cloak of the monster in the blockbuster Predator. A humanoid entity nearly 2.5 meters tall, completely transparent but bending the light around it. It had no skin, no eyes, just a walking mass of water, changing its texture to blend into the brown of the bark and the yellow of the fallen leaves. And then, that invisible head slowly looked up. It was looking right into Marcus's eyes. The gun in the hunter's hand trembled violently. His survival instinct screamed at him to shoot, but his mind was paralyzed. How can you kill something that is merely a fold in space? Marcus shut his eyes tight, cold sweat pouring down his back. He began to pray in absolute silence. 5 minutes later, the cracking footsteps echoed again, slowly fading away and completely disappearing. Waiting until dark, Marcus finally dared to climb down the tree and run for his life to his truck. Since that day, his hunting rifle has been permanently packed away in the attic. He swore he would never set foot deep into the woods again. Marcus's story is not an isolated one. If you scroll through TikTok or Reddit in the US and search for Appalachian Mountains Rules, you will shudder at the warnings passed down through generations by the local. Rule number 1. If you are walking in the woods and hear someone calling your exact name or a child screaming for help from a dark bush, absolutely do not answer and do not follow it. That is not human. That is how these invisible forces hunt. Not only do they bend light to turn invisible, but they can perfectly mimic the voices of your loved ones just to lure you off the trail. And once you step into their territory, you will become just another picture on a missing person flyer posted at a gas station. Paranormal experts suggest these entities could be aliens collecting specimens, or ancient creatures living in parallel dimensions, occasionally crossing over the boundaries of the human world. Whatever they are out there, among the tree trunks, staring at us with formless eyes. Invisibility is their most terrifying weapon. After hearing this story, do you still dare to confidently walk alone in a deserted forest? Or have you ever been alone and suddenly felt the back of your neck go freezing cold, as if someone was standing right behind you, but when you turned around, there was only an empty void? Leave your most chilling experience in the comments section below. Maybe you are not alone in that feeling, and if you are passionate about unsolved mysteries, paranormal phenomena, or the most terrifying missing person cases in the world, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now. Our channel will continuously bring you the most fascinating nightmares. See you in the next Dark Zones.